Another Olympian, I believe it was bobsled, that committed suicide. I
I saw
don't know.
it was Bob
I
Sled.
don't know why. I'm familiar with another Olympian that my daughter knew of, and he committed suicide. There's a high incidence of mental health issues with some of your Olympic and Paralympic, both really, your Olympic and Paralympic athletes. There was a study, and I don't have the specifics of this, but they ask Olympians if I could give you. I usually talk about this in ethics. If you could take a pill that would guarantee a gold medal, but you die in 5 years, would you take it? And the percentage of guys that said yes, it was around 90, I believe. I mean, it was. I probably shouldn't bring this in without real data, but
Yeah, but
I mean, the mindset's different, and so there's been some, I guess, some movement to be able to help athletes work through some of those emotional issues, because it's real. Michael Phelps, probably the greatest Olympian ever, and he didn't quit because of an injury, but he had some severe mental illness or some issues, and you can even see it. After he Beijing, he won more gold medals than anybody had ever won, and he came back, and you just see his behavior. He got in trouble. He got caught smoking dope, and he, one, I think after London, maybe he had a DUI, but things that you wouldn't, U.S. Olympics didn't want him associated with, because he was the poster child. But I think part of that was just that whole emotional, mental issue of dealing with the pressure.
Yeah, I was watching the Michael Jordan documentary. I don't know if you've been watching it, the Michael Jordan documentary on ESPN for the last few Sundays, but it's I've been watching that, and that you can see within that documentary alone, a lot goes into the aspect of staying on top and dealing with the pressure of a lot of things in your body. Michael Jordan, he talked about he was just mentally and physically worn down from being, being him all of the years he took a retirement break in the middle of his career just to get a mental and physical break, because he was just worn out from injury, and it can take a toll on you.
I mean, I remember as a college athlete, and we didn't travel as much as a lot of sports do, but by the end of the season, you're just wasted.
Yeah.
And legs hurt, knees hurt. I cannot imagine what it would be like to be a professional athlete and travel like they do and play every day or every other day. I just don't know how they do it and not sustain, their level. I mean, you look at Major League Baseball, you look at their numbers, and I mean, you see guys go through slumps, and and oftentimes there may be some kind of little nagging injury that they're not going to talk about because they don't want to, show that weakness to their opponents, so they hide it. But you can see it, when their batting average starts dropping, or Matt Carpenter. I don't know if you're a big baseball fan, but he couldn't throw the ball across the diamond last year. What was wrong with his shoulder? And I mean, they're not going to talk about that, but there's something going on.
That's why they do surgeries at the end of the season to try to basically cover up what was wrong with the season before. It happens all the time. I see it all the time. So to wrap it up, what would be some advice that you would offer to people or athletes as a coach and as a former player? What is some advice that you would offer to an athlete who's battling any mental, stress from an injury or physical aspects from the injury? What advice would you offer a person?
In terms of advice, I would say try to prevent the injuries.
Yeah.
I think the whole idea of making sure that you're in good physical shape, that you show up for practice in good shape, because when you're fatigued, you're more apt to get injured. I would say eat healthy meals, get sleep, hydrate. I mean, all those little things that we kind of take for granted. And, I, if you have that little nagging injury, see the trainer, go through the protocols. There's so much pressure, though. I mean, I guess for those people who are your professional or professional types where you're training and traveling, if at all possible, I think you need something else mentally, just so that you're not just only eating, sleeping, and living your sport. There's got to be. I think you've got to work on the person outside of sports, because it's so hard. Even like for your college athletes, when they finish their playing career, and most of them aren't going to go on to a pro career. And if you think about it, and when I worked in academic support, we often talked about this, but for years, that's all they've known, and their whole identity is kind of tied up in who they are as an athlete. Right. And then suddenly it's over, and you don't have the crowds anymore. You don't have the boosters coming up and saying, "Hey, that was a great catch. That was a good game." It's just gone. And so there's a period of time. It's like grieving. I mean, it's like a grieving process.
You feel alone.
And so, just be aware that that's part of it, and take the time and let yourself kind of heal and work through it. But it's hard, and so.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking time out of it.
This is Health is Wealth.